like when you apply for scholarships and for like going to a certain art camp to be accepted and stuff, what you would say?
Yeah, it's never been a problem. It's never been a problem. And, to be totally honest with you, we have such a reputation in the Washington area that people just know of our school and they automatically know it's going to be a good student. So they don't even need to look at those things. But I'm sure they do. So.
Have people ever looked at the incidence of diagnosis of attention deficit disorder, and because of the Montessori environment, is kids less to be labeled with that, or requiring medication because they're just in the classroom environment all day? I'm just curious about it.
Well, that is a really good question, and there's a number of different ways to look at it. So we don't have the time, but the thing I can say is that in a worst case scenario, when kids are in a classroom where they're just being dumbed down, for lack of a better word, and they're having to do the same thing as everyone else all day long in a very passive way and listen to the teacher, that's an environment that is a recipe for a lot of disillusionment and a lot of acting out and a lot of frustration, because you're not able to really explore or to really, so that's one side of it, I think that, I think, in general, Montessori schools or public schools or whatever probably have an equal proportion of students that have learning disabilities or attentional issues, and there is a rise of intentional issues in our society. What's the cause of that? There are some theories about that.
Andrew, can I have you elaborate on one point? As we were speaking earlier, in our community, we have a few Montessori charter schools. So a lot of the questions we get asked is how does that compare? What's the differences between an authentic Montessori environment? What are the charter schools? What are the requirements that they have? Maybe in your experience you can just expound on that for a few minutes just to let people know.
Just briefly, maybe just to say that Montessori is expanding into the public sector nationwide. The independent private Montessori schools are expanding nationwide. Just to mention countries like Thailand or China, of all places, are embracing Montessori in a very ambitious way, wanting to train thousands of Montessori teachers and incorporate Montessori into their programs, and so that's an interesting trend to note. I would just say that there's a lot of people doing a lot of really good work in public Montessori charter schools. And so the challenge has been, no matter if it's Maryland or other schools, is that the pressure to meet the standards and to do the testing and all of that is so intense that it sometimes undercuts the Montessori philosophy that we just talked about. The other challenge that I've heard is that that sometimes, let's say, the administrator or the principal isn't trained in Montessori, he isn't a professional, she isn't a professional. It's very difficult to maintain that Montessori vision without that. And so there's a lot of people doing a lot of good work. There are certain pressures that are on them that are realities that they have to deal with. And so to flip that question around, what you have here, what you have the opportunity to build as a community, is a place where you can co-create a place for your children, working hand in hand with the people that you have here, and that's a pretty powerful thing. And it's an environment that you have a lot of input into, and it's an environment for your children. You really kind of know every day what they're getting and where they're going, and you know their teachers really well, and you are really a part of the fabric of the community, and that's those are really the best elements to recipe for success. Did I
Thank you, Andrew. Yeah.
So you guys have been great. I'll be here if you want to chat with me more personally. If there are other questions now, I'm happy to answer them, but it's been really nice to meet you. Yes?
One more question.
Yeah.
Going back to like learning disabilities.
Yes.
How are learning disabilities like dyslexia,
Uh-huh.
how is that handled in the classroom? I mean, after you've been, maybe a child's been evaluated.
Uh-huh, right. Well, I think that the evaluation is the key, and once you have some kind of evaluation, then the teachers can work together with the administration and with you as parents to develop a plan. In the public sector, there's something called an IEP. In a private sector, in an independent school, typically, huh? Yeah, you get different accommodations and different plans, different elements to an plan. At our school, we call that an educational plan. And so an educational plan means that the teachers have sat down with the parents, usually with some specialist, to forge a plan of where we're going to go for this next year or this next 3 years, you know. And so there's no reason why it can't work. The communication is the key. Really understanding what the students' strengths are and where they need support, you know, is really the key. You know.
Do they make accommodations?
I would say Montessori schools are as accommodating as anybody on the planet because it's inherent in the philosophy. So one way to answer that is we're accommodating constantly to every student. Accommodating in the best sense because we're really honing in on what is special about that student. You know? And so, you know, now to say honestly that if a child has, let's say, a severe learning disability, like a severe dyslexia or whatever, that's going to require a lot of special work to make that happen. And so it may be that an extra resource person is brought in to help work with that student or whatever. So there are limits to what a Montessori teacher, even a great professional, can do. But like I said, with communication, anything's possible.
May I ask one? So
Yeah.
in your school, what
Yeah.
is the typical size of your elementary?
Well, the elementary, we have about 30 to 36 students with 3 teachers. So we have a 12-to-1 ratio,
Okay.
which is a pretty good ratio. And our teachers are all, fully trained teachers, Montessori trained teachers. And all of them have been with us for, a long time. And so that's first, second, third graders. When you're just starting out, it's not going to be a perfect science, all right? You'd love it to, so ideally, you have first, second, third grade, let's say you get 30 students, 10, 10, 10 would be ideal. 10 first graders, 10 second graders, 10 third graders. And then ideally you have 15 and 15 boys and girls. But we don't control the genetics of the local population. And so you just have to be ready. You don't have to do anything. What I'm saying is I encourage you to be open. In a Montessori classroom, the kids don't look at themselves as being in grades. They look at themselves as a classroom. They make friends. First graders could be a best friend with a second grader or a third grader. So just encourage you to, stretch and think a little differently. It could be the first year that there's 5 boys and 2 girls or 3 girls, but they'll do fine together. I had more than one time, but one time that comes to mind in our middle school, I had 1 boy in the whole middle school, and all the others were girls. And his name was Elijah Tucker, and had a meeting with him and with his family, and we said, look, it's August, it doesn't look like we're going to get any other boys. What do you want to do? And they talked about it, and he said, well, I want to go for it. And do you know that those girls ended up being, like I said earlier, lifelong friends, and he's in touch with them, and has been for years and years. And so I'm not saying that that's ideal, but at the beginning there's definitely going to be some growing pains. It's not going to be perfect in the sense of having an equal number of boys and girls, or first, second, third grade, but it will balance out, over time.
Do you see the mentoring continue as kids get older?
How so?
Meaning a 2-year friendship or true mentoring where someone takes a newer student into their grade level.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, all the time. It's one of the most moving things about a Montessori school. The kids are so welcoming. You know, like when someone comes in for a visit, a new student, those kids are like, hey, come on in, you know? What a beautiful thing that is. And then at just about every Montessori school I know, certainly at our school, the older kids in the classroom help the younger ones, but beyond that, like our 4th and 5th and 6th graders, they go into the 2-year-old classroom to read to them and to be with them, and it's just the most special thing, because they go and they greet them when they're coming in from recess, and so you'll see a 4th and 5th grader walking with a little 2-year-old and taking them to their classroom, and that kind of stuff happens a lot. It's a real big part of it. Great, all right, well, thank you all very much.
Thank you.
And I hope I helped you a little bit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I feel very inspired. I hope you guys have, and I thank you for your time and all the information that you
Yeah, and please, if you want to see a school in action, you're more than welcome to come. I'd love to have you. We love having visitors. Students like to have visitors, so you can take the drive down. We're in Chevy Chase, and or go onto our website at least, and you can see pictures of elementary classroom and the older kids in action. So
Thank you for the
great.
invitation.
Yeah.
And so I'm passing around a clipboard so that you can provide information. I was expecting a few unfamiliar faces, but so we probably, excuse me, know how to get in touch with you guys. But even still, I think it's really important to keep this connection and to continue on this momentum that we feel. So your input and questions are very much welcome. And so I just wanted to put it out there that I'm happy to provide updates as they develop for you guys. And do you have any questions for me?
Can you distribute some of the information that Andrew shared with us, including his contact information?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sure.
yes.
And also, I'll send a couple of top recommended books for you as Montessori parents. There's the best one that I know of that is written by one of my colleagues, Sonny McFarland. It's called Montessori Parenting, or Montessori Parents. Really, really good. And so, but I'll send you a couple of those
And I can,
titles.
and I can put out the recommended reading. There is just a few handouts. I didn't make extra copies, but the one on the table is just a very basic overview of the curriculum for 1st through 3rd grade. And then I'll, have, as you're interested, information coming out, for the parents continuing reading and bombard you all in one night.
The other thing is, if you want to talk to Montessori parents at our school, I can arrange that for you.
It would be nice to talk to actually graduates too.
Graduate, sure.
See how they cope with transitioning to high school.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
That's very good.
Make that happen.
Kim, what's the next thing that we kind of had thought to do next after this event?
To actually see an elementary classroom in action. And so I will personally reach out. I have to just confirm a date, and then once that's confirmed, then I can reach out to a number of families who I know are really interested to take a little field trip to, see what a Montessori elementary classroom looks like. You can observe, ask questions.
We're gonna have a round table again. We were
And
talking about bringing Rita.
And another thing that we were talking about doing, of course, was to have some Montessori elementary teachers available for questions and answers. Maybe just a small panel, but something where you can really ask more maybe in-depth questions about the curriculum or specifics about the method. Let me know if there's anything on your mind.
What you guys need too. We're
Curious
happy to
about
try to
what you
get
wanna
that.
know about.
I think having done this a few times, having opened my school, and then we opened the middle school, then we opened the toddler class, 2-year-olds. So maybe like a monthly session where people can come and check in with you, how things are going would be what I would recommend, something like that,
And we just started the mornings in the Meadow, so that would be kind of a good time to maybe put that out once a month. It's the first Thursday, so plug if you didn't know about it. The first Thursday of every month, we have that sort of morning time from 8 to 8:45, where you're welcome to come. We'll have childcare, we'll have some coffee, and some light breakfast things, snacks, and it's really a time for you to connect with us, the teacher, and
So how far along are you in the process of starting this?
so you guys came a little bit late, so
Yeah.
I'll make sure I give you that, because everybody else, I pretty much, unless you didn't hear me in the very beginning, I'll share it with you guys together.
It's fully our intent to, we're doing everything possible that we can to be able to launch. There are a couple of things in the, there are a couple, things that we have to get through, but for the most part, we feel very confident that, otherwise we wouldn't be doing this. We feel
Are you
very
gonna
strong.
launch with 3 grades or just first?
First through third, it's a Montessori classroom. It'll be lower elementary. It'll be in this room right here. There's some logistical issues that we have to kind of get through, but we feel very strongly that.
So how you parents can help us is really be voicing, this alternative to your friends and to your children's, circles of influence, because if there are people that, don't really know about it and want more information, they should contact info@meadowscenter.com. So that's the email to have them approach any questions, concerns, and respond. info@meadowscenter.com.
What would the day be? Will it be, we were just thinking about the hours. Will they be?
Instructional time will be 9 to 3, just like that.
With the responses you got from parents, do you think you'll have a lot of third or second graders too?
I'm hoping that we will have some alumni students possibly back, and that would be great. That would be awesome. It's like reunion back to the Meadows family. Also new students. It's not uncommon for students who have never been in Montessori to start, in the first grade or something, and that's fine too. That can be doable. So we're very open. We've been in the process of hiring a qualified candidate. We've had responses and interviews already, and that is our commitment to this community, is we want the right person to make it successful. I'm not just gonna put a person in here just to put a person in here and say we have it. As you all have already testified, we have got really wonderful, dedicated Montessori teachers. And I feel really blessed that we've attracted that caliber, and the elementary program will be no less.
Will you announce this?
So we do realize that we have some limitations to our facility here, obviously, and we have been, TJ could probably speak on this, but we do anticipate growth, and.
Many of you all maybe know that we have been in the process of trying to look for another site, for another school. We were very close, unfortunately, it didn't work out. I'm sorry, within the, outside of Frederick, that was the place we looked at, but we're looking in this area right now. If any of y'all know places, the MOBA's open, but we have been looking, we have been. Our goal, our vision always was to have a campus. We wanted to have a larger school. We wanted to have a complete Montessori environment, not just a primary. We wanted to have the ability to expand our grades. And as you know, if any of you have done any kind of a project or construction before, it is a task that takes a while. So we've been in this process for a little while. So we are looking. Our intent is to have another location, yes.
And would you go up beyond third, maybe?
As long as there is a need in the community and we can fill that need, we definitely will do it. As with anything, Karen, there is a cost involved to launch anything, and we need parental support. We feel that it's there, and we know that we can make it happen. And we are making the investment in our space here to try to see if we can, because we know parents want this, and there's, not just you all, we've heard it from other people.
We're all speaking from the heart, and it's very emotional when, we talk about all the social emotional things that, we stand for, and really what makes Montessori so unique, and that peace curriculum. That was our first parent ed of the year, was the peace curriculum. And so we firmly believe that, the academics are definitely there, and, just wanting to make sure that, you know, we go in this with the proper support to make it a successful program, and so that it doesn't, you know, it's gonna take some real financial backing. I'll just, you know, put it out there that, you know, we're gonna need, you know, some, commitments, you know, from families, and, we're willing to put the investment in if you guys are willing, you know, to put in, the faith and the trust that you guys have had in us all this time. And our commitment is really to find that right person, because honestly, I won't move forward if I don't find the right person. I'll just put it out there. That's really, really important for me. That's biggest unknown, the biggest uncertainty, you know, that I can't control. So my commitment to you is, you know how one of the alumni parents was talking about Mr. Tim? That's how I want the elementary children to speak to their teacher in elementary. It's really important. These relationships are just valuable and priceless. So that's my commitment to you guys.
Maybe Andrew can lend you one.
You want another one?
So, and that's another thing, hey, if you know of anybody, info at Meadows Center, okay?
We also have, you know, just to show you, you know, with Andrew's willingness to come, and that's really the community. It can't ask for more than that, you know, just on his own time to come out and help us. He knows we're trying to grow, and Kim and Andrew have a relationship through the international, the IMC organization, so it's great. It's wonderful. You know, from Chevy Chase to Frederick, it doesn't really matter. Montessori's Montessori, right? It really is very kind.
So I thank you all for your time tonight very much, for your interest. Yeah. And I'll be here to answer your question, and feel free to, you know, have some more refreshments. But I know it is getting a little bit late, and the children are probably, I haven't heard anybody cry, so I think it's good.
Yeah.
So guys, thank you so much, and I will collect those words and make sure that we're all connected.